It's 3. Did you do Wolverine?
Yeah. As I said, sorry. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got these 3 off for a long time. It's 5-5.
You guys gonna make me pick your Wolverine. Oh my god.
Wolverine, Professor X, Magneto.
Which one do you want
I'm
to do
gonna
first?
get killed if I make the wrong choice.
All right, we'll do Wolverine first, then Professor X, then Magneto.
It's fine by me. Magneto's my favourite. of the 3
Magneto
characters.
last.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? Can we do it this way?
Okay.
Professor X,
Okay.
then Wolverine, then Magneto.
Okay.
In that order, because that's my 3-1 in terms of favourite characters.
So how
Okay.
do you want to go?
So my Professor X.
Okay.
This is tough, right?
Can we tell everyone what you were doing downstairs earlier, by the way?
Earlier I went on to ChatGPT because the best person I could think of was Chris Pine because I saw him bald once and the image just stuck in my head. And it was I knew it was a horrible decision. And so I asked our dad what he thought, and he just went, "I'll just go on ChatGPT." He wasn't interested. I didn't get anything, so then I kind of I just sat in silence for like 5 minutes.
Wait, you got something?
Yeah, I settled on David Oyelowo from. He is Martin Luther King in Selma.
Oh.
Yeah, among other stuff. He's English. I didn't realise he's 48 as well, but he looks a bit younger. But if you let him be grey or bald, he can pass as his age or older.
Interesting.
And I think if you...
He's in The Butler as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll say no less. Thespian acting chops, can play English or American, no matter how you wanted to do Professor X. Mm-hmm. And I think he has a kind-heartedness about him, but also he can have a steeliness and sternness as well.
That's the question. What are we doing here? Are we going for British Professor X, or are we gonna
take your pick?
Or are we just?
I have said before, like I now struggle. Even when I'm reading the comics, I read his speech bubbles in a British accent.
Patrick Stewart has like permanently altered everyone's perception of this character.
I've been on record before saying if he wasn't already Baron Mordo, I would want Chiwetel Ejiofor. So your choice kind of speaks to that a bit, where he's a British actor who's played American before, but he's got a charisma that makes you feel safe around him. But obviously, he's been cast. I've gone with... I've gone with someone who you can feel safe around. I've gone with someone who has a calming presence. He's now of the right age. I've gone with Ewan McGregor.
Ooh.
I had Ewan McGregor at one point as well, but I wasn't sure if he was too old for you or not.
We mentioned him in passing the first episode of Fixing the MCU, and I thought, I don't think we can do better than that. We just got to just shave his head off, hair off, and I think he could do it.
When you said feel safe around, did you mean that in comparison to Judah's choice?
Yeah, what's unsafe about?
Did you say you don't feel safe around the black man? Is that what?
We're not doing this for Judah's DEI. I mean, he's Martin Luther King. You feel safe around him, right? He did a great job of that as well. But I think that's just important for someone, for Professor X to have. They both have it.
You need a calming presence.
You need a calming
Professor
presence.
Imagine Obi-Wan's voice, like.
And I think it's important that you get a thespian like both of us who can argue with Magneto. Yeah. We've spoken about how it's impossible to replace Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen because they could bounce off each other so well. Ewan McGregor, I think he could do that to an extent. George Lucas did not direct either of them very, very well in the prequel series, but the way he could bounce off Hayden Christensen, you could see that actually he's got a natural inclination to do that. So yeah, that would be my pick. That would be my pick.
This might be cheating. I really like your pick, Judah, but as Magneto.
Ooh.
Just along the lines of, you know, when you pick somebody that, what we said about Matt Berry at the start, where we said about he's normally played quite light-hearted, good characters, but actually like, because again, we might be cheating, I might be jumping ahead. The thing about Magneto is, or at least how I've forgotten the name of the guy who played him.
Michael Fassbender?
No.
Ian McKellen.
Yes, I can't believe I forgot his name. Thing about him is that like you can actually feel safe around him.
Mm-hmm.
When he played Magneto, it's just that he could switch like that.
That's a
And
good point.
suddenly you're like, whoa.
Well, that's what I have done with my Magneto. But I had made the argument to Josiah before that I really wanted him to be Jewish, no matter what.
Yeah, that's another interesting point because with the timelines, can you still do the Holocaust and Magneto's like still be a decent age? Like I'm not. You'd have to do some working around it, but
we addressed that.
I'm sure we'll get to that.
We came up with a really.
Yeah.
I think we did a good job of basically. They are dying at the start of the first movie.
They're
because
just
they
old.
are the age of people who have survived the Holocaust.
Okay.
But then they get regenerated in part to younger versions of themselves.
Interesting. I'm gonna go with Ewan McGregor on this one.
Racist.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with Ewan McGregor on this one, but
Fair.
I actually really like your choice as Magneto. But I would do something different with Magneto, but I don't know how that would go down.
Yeah, it all depends on how they write them in. Because if they've just appeared, then yeah.
It's not gonna make sense, is it?
But for what we were saying is they regenerate, but also they in my timeline the X-Men are kicking in the 60s. They're about and kicking, and then they remove themselves from the world.
Interesting.
And then they steal away mutant children in the night.
Interesting.
You didn't say anything about in the night. You're making it sound sinister there.
Well, no, but that's the thing. So like, then there's people on forums and stuff saying like there's people kidnapping children. Then anyway, so then Wolverine.
This I'm interested in.
Who'd you put down?
Again, it's a no-win scenario. I think even when you win, you lose because it's not going to be better than Hugh Jackman. But sorry, I think you had the best choice.
Mm-hmm.
Taron Egerton.
Mm-hmm. He's even got the hairline for it already.
He's little. Apparently, I didn't know that. He could do mutton chops. I haven't seen him do anything like ferocious or anything, but Hugh Jackman was doing show tunes before he did Wolverine. So who's to say that he can't do it? I think just in terms of look, if you grow his hair out, give him some mutton chops.
Have you ever seen any fan mock-ups of what he would look like?
I ain't seen no fan mock-ups.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I saw a few Tom Hardy ones, but
it just looks so on point that you can't really think. It would be one of those ones where if you were a casting director, I'd have him on the top of my list. But then I'd audition for like unheard of people who are unheard of. I would not have any other A-listers but Taron Egerton. I just think right height. He's really built as well. Mm-hmm. He can act. He can do his own stunts. He's young-ish, but doesn't look like a kid. It just works on every level. So sorry, there's no decision for you there.
Decision to make.
We both said Taron Egerton.
I'm glad you both. I'm glad you both did. I think that's a good choice. I don't know who I would have gone for, to be quite honest with you, because it's a similar thing to the other two characters you have to choose from, which is that for a lot of people my age, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? In the same way, for a lot of people, Patrick Stewart is Professor X. So I can't really profess to having one because I don't know who I would pick. But based off, much like Kit Connors, I don't know a lot about Taron Egerton, but the age and some of the stuff that he's been in, his background, probably makes sense as a long-term pick as Wolverine.
I think as well, we limit ourselves to short people, but when you look at it, would be a lot of work, and Disney don't really do that with like camera work and stuff, like in Lord of the Rings. But you could do someone taller and make them look small.
That's why Tom Cruise has never been in the MCU.
Yeah. So we're rounding it home.
Oh wow! So this is the decider as well.
The big one.
I think it's actually 7-6 to you.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Oh, is it?
I'm playing for a draw.
So we're playing for a draw here.
Okay.
Because you both agreed on Taron Egerton and Silver Surfer and what was the first one again? Who did we do first?
Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom. Yeah.
We had a draw in there. So,
Cards on the table.
go on.
No. I'm telling you. Yeah, hit me with it.
Magneto is the one I put the most thought into, and the one I want to get most right.
Most important character, really.
I'm now looking at this, and I think I've overthought it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to stick with what I've got, and I'm going to try my best to argue it. Magneto there does have to be something slightly attractive about his charisma. There does have to be something that when he makes his arguments, you see the truth in it. I think that's something actually that X-Men 97 done really, really well, which is even when he's battling with himself. I think episode 2 did that really, really well, where he's battling with himself, that he knows he has to do the right thing for his best friend, but his natural inclination is for revenge. It is to be more militant than he's allowed to be. But yeah, still, the little bits where he's talking with the words he's using is so eloquent. You can't help but kind of admire what he's doing a little bit.
Okay.
Even if it is warped.
I'm excited.
So I've ended up kind of going back to my Game of Thrones bias here. And I thought, who's a character that battled within themselves, but when push came to shove, always kind of reverted back to the side that everyone else is saying is evil. And I don't think... I thought his arc in it was brilliant across 7 seasons. And I don't think anyone did it better than Jaime Lannister.
Ooh, okay.
So Nikolai Coster-Waldau. I've only ever seen... I hope I pronounced that right. I've only ever seen him in Game of Thrones and that movie with the cheaters. I don't know why I've watched that. Where he's married to like Cameron Diaz, but cheats on her with someone else, and then they find out he was cheating on both of them with someone else. So that I don't think that is going to come into his repertoire so much. But yeah, what he did in Game of Thrones, I think he could translate to Magneto really well.
Okay.
But
I've got to be honest, I love that choice.
oh really?
I love that choice. I love it.
I thought I would have put too much thought into it and then have looked too deeply into one small aspect.
I thought he was great as Jaime Lannister. I can see that translating into Magneto. I like that choice. No pressure, Jay.
I'm so cooked because I had put so much effort into forming my argument for a Jewish, British / American actor that was perfect. I thought with his acting CV, and then I went on it just so I could reference some movies to you guys. It's Andrew Garfield, who obviously is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But he's appeared as Spider-Man in the movies, which is my issue.
Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy though, Jay? I don't hate that casting either. I actually quite like, from the perspective of what I said before of like, I think guys that aren't normally villains playing villains can be quite chilling. And I know it's a slightly different movie and he was a very different character in it. But you know the scene at the end of Social Network where he realised that he's basically been like cut out of the company. Like that screaming and that like emotion in his voice. Like obviously as Magneto is regulated because Magneto is quite calm and collected.
But he's the good guy in that. And everyone can see the good parts of his aspect, but he's portrayed as the bad guy.
And that's kind of what I like about your Jaime Lannister character as well, which is that inherently Magneto sees himself as the good guy, right? And you need that, so you can't just cast like a straight up villain like you would Thanos or like you would Galactus. You have to cast someone that genuinely believes they're in the right.
Have you seen Through the Eyes of Tammy Faye?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Right, so it's about this woman and she goes to like Christian college and she
I thought we watched it at Christmas.
may or may not have watched.
Maybe we have.
But basically he's like a young preacher, like a youth pastor, and he's like, he loves God and he knows the Bible and he's really, really nice.
Oh, and Andrew Garfield's the preacher. I have
and it
seen
turns out like he's like, you know, sexually assaulting people, he's like having affairs, like yeah. And so like stuff like that, well, okay, oh yeah, this guy's actually, even though he's bad, you can understand exactly why these people, like she was sticking around through all of that. And so so I have him, and if that is an issue, I'm just going to chuck Joaquin Phoenix into the mix.
Too evil.
But yeah, so I'm going to stick with Andrew Garfield.
I really like that, Jay. I know.
That is a good one.
I like that. this is a cop out. This is a huge cop out. I'm gonna give it to you both because this is why. Because if you were gonna do what I can't remember which one of you said it earlier about X-Men in the 60s or whatever. Perfect, because I know he's like nearly 40 now, but Andrew Garfield looks like late 20s, early 30s, right? But if you were going to go with the casting that we just went with, which is Ewan McGregor, then I can't remember, poor guy, Jamie Lannister, don't know his real name.
Nikolai, it's Swedish, I think, isn't it?
They both make sense, but for different X-Men movies. So I think they're both great choices. I would watch Andrew Garfield Magneto. I would watch I'm just going to call him Jamie Lannister, Magneto. So it's a cop-out, so I'm giving you both a point for that. Sorry.
I'll never forgive myself for not coming up with a Silver Surfer.
You come up with Silver Surfer, Jay. You just come up with it. It'd be a different competition.
Andrew Garfield, I think, is probably one of the best actors around.
And also, is he Jewish? There we go.
Know that. Yeah, there you go. That's definitely a blemish on my pick as well. I don't think Nikolai's Jewish.
But I mean, you picked an Italian American man, a sunspot as well. So at this point,
gone on purely visuals. But yeah, so let's run through it then. So if you want, I'm not going to go through everyone we've cast. Watch previous videos. But for Galactus, we've got Javier Bardem. For Silver Surfer, we've had to take Keanu Reeves. For Doctor Doom, it's Mikhail Huseman.
No, we went with, it was one each one. It's Mikhail Huseman and John Noble was the voice.
For Blue Marvel, we've got Sterling K. Brown.
Great choice.
For Antimatter Man, we've got Brad Pitt. For Cable, we've got Ben Affleck. For Sunspot, we've got Rome Flynn. Bishop, Javante Rhodes. Cannonball, we've got Kit Connor. Wolverine is Taron Egerton. Magneto is Nikolai Coster-Waldau. And then Professor X is Ewan McGregor.
Push back.
I think people would. Well, I think people will watch X-Men movies anyway.
They can put me in an X-Men movie and then people will watch it.
Exactly. So.